Welcome to The Explainer. We hear the term project management thrown around all the time, right? Today, we're going to peel back all that jargon and see what it really means to take an idea and turn it into reality.
Okay, I know. That's a bit of a weird question. But think about it. Whether you're building a massive skyscraper or just, making your lunch, you're following a set of steps, right? You've got resources and you've got a final goal. And that's the absolute core of what we're digging into today.
So, let's get the official definition out of the way. We all think we know what a project is, but this definition has a really key insight. It's not just your day-to-day grind. It's a temporary thing to create something unique. And that distinction, it's everything. Doing your daily sales report? Nope, not a project. But launching a brand new app? Oh yeah, that's a project. It's a one-time mission to build something that just didn't exist before. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Project work, that's about creating change. It's building that new website. Operations, on the other hand, that's about keeping the lights on, the daily IT support. It really boils down to this. Projects create the future, while operations maintain the present. Simple as that. All right, so now we get to the fundamental rules of the game that every single project manager has to live by. People often call it the iron triangle, and believe me, it governs every project, no matter how big or small. So you've got these three things: scope, time, and cost, and they are absolutely locked together. Scope is what you're building. Time is your schedule, obviously, and cost is the budget. The real kicker is you can't just change one of them without completely rocking the boat for the other two. And here's where those tough trade-offs become, impossible to ignore. Let's say a client wants a cool new feature. Okay, the scope just expanded. That means you're immediately forced into a choice. Do we push the deadline back? Or do we have to find more money to pay for extra help? See, you can't just get something for nothing. A project manager's real job is living right in the middle of that tension, constantly negotiating that balance. So, in a perfect world, how does a project go from just being an idea to a finished, tangible thing? Well, let's look at the classic 5-step blueprint that kind of forms the backbone of all project management theory. This is the textbook life cycle, and it tells a really nice, clean story. First, you start with the why. That's initiation. Then you create the roadmap during planning, and then you actually build the thing in execution. All the while, you're monitoring to make sure you don't drive off a cliff. And finally, you hit closure, deliver the results, and hopefully, you get to celebrate. On paper, it's this perfect straight line.
But, and this is a big but, here's the secret about those clean, logical plans. The real world is messy. It's anything but clean. And that perfect blueprint? It almost never survives its first contact with reality. Oh man, I absolutely love this quote from an old-school IT project manager because it is just so true. You see, in the real world, there's no single, perfect, off-the-shelf approach. Every company is different. Every project has its own quirks. So instead of some seamless Captain America, you get Frankenstein's monster, something that's been stitched together from different parts, all just to make it work in its own unique environment.
So, to deal with this messy reality, managers have a couple different toolkits. On one side, you've got the classic waterfall. This is where you plan every single little detail right up front. It's fantastic for building something predictable, like a bridge. But on the other side, you've got Agile. Agile totally embraces change and works in these small, flexible cycles. It's perfect for something like software, where you're kind of discovering what you need as you build it. You know what the best managers do? They don't just pick one. They create a hybrid, taking the best bits from both.
And this brings us to what might be the single most critical part of the entire job. And honestly, it has way less to do with charts and spreadsheets and everything, absolutely everything, to do with people.
Okay, let's talk about maybe the most important word in a project manager's entire vocabulary: stakeholder. Now, this is not just your client, it's your team, it's the finance department, it's the people who will actually use the thing you're building. It could even be an outside regulator. Bottom line, if they can affect your project, or if your project can affect them, they are a stakeholder, period.
And you know what? Managing these relationships is everything. A single forgotten stakeholder, someone whose needs you just didn't hear, can completely torpedo a project months down the line. It all comes back to proactive communication and building trust. Because as you can see here, no fancy Gantt chart in the world can save a project if the relationships are broken. Ultimately, this is the big leap a good project manager has to make. They have to move beyond just managing stuff, tracking tasks and asking how and when, to actually leading people. Leadership is about inspiring the team. It's about asking what and why. It's about getting obstacles out of the way and creating an environment where people feel motivated to do their absolute best work. So, after all the planning, all the spreadsheets, the budget is approved, the plan is set, what's the one thing that can still sink a project that looks perfect on paper? It always comes down to the people. A project plan can't resolve a conflict between team members. A budget can't inspire a team that's burning out. That's where leadership and communication take over. So the next time you're working on any kind of project, whether it's launching a satellite or just planning a party, ask yourself, are we just managing the tasks or are we leading the people? The answer to that question, that's what truly defines success. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.